see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra. Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom, boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that, I'm on it and next. Fuck this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Shit, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition. We just turned the field into a demolition. It was desolate, but I had premonition. I was training for war every exhibition, every extra mission, every enemy listening. Get off my dick, I got bad intentions. Make it right every wrong, and I'm back with a vengeance. I show you the ropes. Beast in my town, I can show you the coast. Up in the shots if they wanted to smoke. If you know, then you know. Suited up, bitch, my whole team do the same. Don't you forget who created the game. Ready for war, I was born with grenades. The trenches where soldiers are made. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
One, two, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. I'ma drop a free second cherish. I'ma send shout out to the host named Eric. 1, 2, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up.
Hey there, hi there, hello there. You're listening to the PHP Ugly Podcast, episode 375 for March 14th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, is John Congdon.
Oh, well, happy Pi Day to you.
Happy Pi Day. Happy Pi Day. Are we eating pie? I don't like pie too much.
I don't have any.
If this is your first time listening and you're wondering what's going on, this is a podcast that focuses on the PHP programming language, the PHP community, and our company, PHP Architect. We get together every Thursday and just kind of talk about what's been going on in the week and what's going on in our surrounding community and technology. This podcast is made a little better thanks to some sponsorship from honeybadger.io and, again, our company, PHP Architect, as well as some fabulous supporters on Patreon. and we're going to talk about all of them a little later. But you too can be part of this show. All you have to do is pop into our Discord at discord.phpugly.com, and you are part of the show. And if you hang out all week, you're just part of the community at that point. So wonderful
And welcome.
smart developers in there. So yeah, I think that's my whole spiel. I think that's all I got.
That's all you got. That's fine. That's all you need.
Look at you bringing up the lower thirds and everything while I'm working. Wow, man, it's like
Trying.
smooth.
Trying.
Yes, Pi Day.
Welcome, JLH, first time live viewer.
Oh, we got Corey A. Woods. What's up, everyone?
We need some pie.
Jeffrey?
Now you have me thinking about pie. That's all there is to it.
You're the one who brought it up.
I did.
All right. I feel like we got a lot to talk about. We should dive right into it. How was your week?
Oh my gosh, where do you start? I've been fighting with Firebase. Did I talk about that last week at all?
You didn't talk about Firebase last week, no. I think you're going to, and we ran out of time.
Yeah. So I implemented Firebase years ago, probably 6-7+ years ago on this application. And it was originally just, we want this little notification drawer, like, the little bell icon you get in the top of a lot of sites. It was like, I want to be able to give them notifications like, hey, this contact has moved, or, whatever the information was. And then they could delete that out of their drawer or mark it as read or whatever, and it just stayed there. The problem is all that data is hosted in Firebase. That data grows over time, and there are some power users where we also put notifications in there like, hey, this contact has opened the email you sent. And after years, that database grows pretty big. A couple weeks ago, when we first started noticing the problem, the Firebase database was 17 gigs big. Just no pruning of data, just grew and grew and grew over the years. And then as well as our cost ballooned up. But storage was just a small part of that. Like $100 out of a few $1,000s was storage. So it wasn't the size of the database. It was the users downloading that data. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I just don't know how the Firebase SDK works, because I'm connecting to an endpoint and I'm saying limit 10. I just want 10 entries. I don't want the whole thing. And just getting a fire hose of data that I'm not seeing because I'm saying limit it to 10. So all of a sudden it's like, why are we downloading so much data? So I've been trying to purge that, and I've now got it down to, I think, less than like 2 gigs of the 17. And continuing, I'm still finding new stuff every day to purge.
Oh man, well, at least you're in there coding. That's fun. I feel like I like all my coding happens after 5. I feel like lately, I don't know what it is. My entire day just is busy with meetings and other stuff. I don't know what to do anymore. But I have been coding. Everybody knows, been a long time fan of the Filament project.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot get my head around how that team puts out that product. It's such a good product. Project, not even product, right? It's not even, it doesn't even cost anything. It's free. You just composer, require it, and rock and roll with it.
Like every other great idea, it was built out of a need that they had, right? They wanted something, and they're like, well, let's build it. And then they realized, hey, we can open source this.
Yeah. That's what we're using as our backend for PHP Tech TV to manage like the videos and stuff like that. And even that's growing. Like we're starting to use that for other things as well. But it's like every time I think, like, how am I going to do this in the back end? I just like look at the documents. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not that hard. I can do that.
Eric, you're not supposed to share that we're using an open source product because open source is
Yeah,
insecure. Everyone knows that
totally
because people can
insecure.
see the source.
Every line of code, every flaw is exposed to everyone. It's funny you mentioned that argument because I have NorCal Kid is in town, which is always great to have them in town, and this time NorCal's current partner is with them, and they are coming with me to Scale tomorrow. There's some talks from people from NASA there, and they had a internship with NASA where they got to fly. NASA flew them to Florida to watch the latest rocket launch. So they had initially wanted to come to watch those talks, and I kind of like I feel like so like you know how religious people feel when they're trying to talk to you about like the savior. Like I'm telling them, I'm like, do you understand the principle behind the conference we're going to? And like, no, not really. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it focuses on open source, and I just go into like this whole spiel about open source. That's one of the things we talked about. I was like, oh yeah, back in the day, nobody wanted you to use open source because it was believed that it was less secure because everybody could see the problems, but turns out it's more secure because everybody can see the problems. And
The problem is there are still business owners that feel that way. I mean,
oh
to this
yeah,
day, it happens.
yeah, very much. So I got them like really excited about open source, and they've been struggling kind of as well with some conceptually with how they wanted to move forward with things because they like they're not big on Apple in some of the practices that Apple has as far as sweatshops and things like that.
Right.
Not super happy with Microsoft because again, big corporation. And when I started explaining to them, I'm like, yeah, there's a whole desktop environment out there that's free of all of that, as well as free. They got super excited, and so I think I may have converted, have them join the cult of open source. I'm excited. It's the first time I've ever had that like level of connection with somebody, a foreigner to the family. So
When are you heading down
I head there tomorrow.
or over? You just
Yeah,
going first thing in the morning, or
yeah. So I'm going first thing tomorrow. Again, taking NorCal Kids, current partner, with me, and we're gonna hang out all day. Then I'm actually gonna come home Friday night, pick up the current wife, and drive back out there because I have a hotel. So we'll just spend the weekend out there, and the wife and I, the Scale is like one of these special conferences for the wife and I because it was the first time way back in the day. I think even before you and I, maybe. It was the first conference she had gone with me, to. She doesn't go to the conference. She has no idea what's happening. She just goes there because I'm there, and I go to the conference during the day. She goes and does something, and then at night we go and have a good time. And so Scale's kind of always been that conference for us. But yeah, so I'm excited. It's been a while. I went last year briefly for like one day, but excited this year.
cool. Sounds like it'll be fun.
Yeah, excited. So what do we got to talk about this week, John?
I got all sorts of just weird little things to talk about.
Mhm.
We use xero.com for accounting, right? It's just one of those accounting applications, does the double entry, all that good stuff. I don't know why, but was averse to Intuit QuickBooks for some reason. I think just
Mhm.
scarred from back in the day. Now they have a whole online part to it as well. But when I was looking for accounting software a few years ago, I found this. I logged in the other day, and there's this big message at the top, and I kind of glanced at it, but I go there to do something I wasn't there wanting to read, and then go back and I look at it again, and they have some sort of partnership with Stripe where they basically just create a new Stripe project in your Stripe account. And I guess all the invoice payments that go direct through Zero's invoices now go into that Stripe account. And it's still our Stripe account. It's just weird. The way they worded it, everything. Have you ever seen that? Like, it's financial stuff. Right?
It's actually a little terrifying. It's like, hey, I don't want you in my Stripe account. That's basically my bank account, man. I don't want you there.
Right. I mean, they have the connections for all that anyway, for invoice payments and all, but it was just weird.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the actual wording of it, if it'll pop back up, which of course it won't when I need it.
No. Well, why you gotta look for that?
Yeah, it's not. I must have closed it out.
Laravel 11 got released this week.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys excited about that. It's a pretty big change. Actually, no, I take that back. It's not as big of a change as everybody thought it was going to be, but there is some like file structure change, mainly just them, excuse me, stripping out all the framework stuff.
What do you mean, all the framework stuff?
So the idea is that when you look at your code base, you're seeing your code, right? Whereas before, Laravel would put a bunch of their like middleware in the app folder and other things in the app folder. Now they're trying to kind of keep that. It's not really hidden. They're just like they
just separating it.
Right. They realize nobody ever touches these files.
Or they do and they shouldn't. That's probably a bigger thing.
And it's cool. I don't know if this is still the case. I do know back in the day, JMac in a Shift product would just have all these metrics on how people are using Laravel because of they send it through his Shift service, and he realizes, people are touching this and shouldn't be. And so I don't know if there's any sort of feedback loop between JMac and Taylor, but I feel like a lot of it, I feel like a lot of it is kind of grown from that, where it just got identified as like, hey, nobody should be touching this file, or nobody ever touches this file. So let's get it out of the way. Let's make it so that when you look at your folder structure, you're seeing the code that you created, and you can stay focused on that. They did promise that everything is going to be backwards compatible, at least for now. I only watched the video once, and I don't remember them talking about deprecating even. They just said it would be backwards compatible. So, take that for what it's worth. I don't know. Looks cool. Of course, they have some new things there for anybody who's into it. They announced Reverb. Laravel Reverb, which is a real-time WebSocket solution for Laravel.
Well, I want to go back to that Laravel 11 upgrade. If they're moving files around, how does that work? So Laravel has never been a composer upgrade type of library, right? It's usually a lot more work that goes into it.
Not from big version changes, correct? Yeah. So what's your question?
Just that you can't just do a Laravel upgrade. There's a lot more that goes into it, especially if they're moving files around.
Right. But again, if you have an existing Laravel app, you don't have to move your files around. The framework is smart enough to understand legacy file structure. So it will obviously look for the stuff in the new locations and then say, okay, is it Are they using an older, have they come from an older version? And it's so you don't, if existing apps you don't have to worry about, or they, in theory, you don't have to worry about. You can still upgrade them. So there's still an upgrade path for you. I actually haven't read through the upgrade guide for existing apps.
That's interesting.
But you don't have to move stuff around or worry about that. It's also interesting because if you're using the Laravel installer and you new up another Laravel application, it defaults to SQLite database. No longer does it default to MySQL. The installer now, and I think this is the case. I don't use the installer enough to know, but the installer now is a lot more verbose, where as you're doing the install, you go through and you're prompted to select things. So when you get to the database layer, it selects SQLite by default, but it's just a matter of you changing that to MySQL, clicking up two clicks and changing it to MySQL. And then again, just like everything else, the framework's smart enough to know, it's like, all right, they're using MySQL, so it makes, whatever change it needs to make for, the sake of MySQL. It's just like some, quality of life improvements. I don't remember reading anything about any major performance increases or anything like that, but kind of tap out with that after a while, I think.
Right. Usually there's only so much you could do.
Yeah.
There's at that framework level.
Yeah, sorry. There was one thing that's a little odd. Like their implementation seems a little odd, but they have this concept, and I guess enough people have had the problem where they've needed to change their app key, right? So the app key is what's used whenever you do any sort of encryption, right? The app key is what's used for that encryption. User passwords, I think, are an example. If you use encrypt or whatever the command is, that's what it'll do it based on your app key. So the problem is if that app key is leaked, or if you have any security concerns around your app key, or you're just of the mindset where, hey, I want to rotate my app key every 4 to 6 months, it's a lot of work, right? Because you basically have to re-encrypt everything in your database that's used that old app key to encrypt. Now they have this implementation that kind of lets you do that. Kind of, it's weird because I think I'll give you an analogy here in a second, but essentially what happens is when you create a new app key, it actually creates another environment. I think it creates another environmental variable that keeps the old app key. And so as people are using the application, the framework will see, oh, hey, is this password encrypted with the new key or the old key? And if it's the old key,
it's actually an array of previous keys.
Oh, it's an array of previous keys.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't understand about that. Okay, so let me finish explaining. It'll see if like the password or whatever encrypted data you have is encrypted with the new key, and if it's not, it starts going through the old keys, and then at the moment it's able to decrypt it, it'll re-encrypt it with the new key. So the idea is that over time, your data would slowly get re-encrypted with the new key. But you still have all the old keys. Like all the old keys are still there, and the application is aware of the old keys and understands how to use them. So I'm not sure it's really. I should reach out to Eric Mann, PHP Architect, our security guy, and get his opinion on this, because it just doesn't seem like it's doing that much security.
Right.
In the analogy I always go back to, we've talked about it before, but back in the day when Facebook was first created, Mark Zuckerberg, when he was actually doing his coding, and it was all in PHP, he realized, oh, hey, people are going to start to log in who don't understand how to use cap locks or understand that passwords could be upper and lowercase. So instead of like doing the string to lower or something like that, whenever somebody created a password, it would create the password as it was entered. Then I think it would create the password in all uppercase and then create the password in all lowercase. So somebody would basically have 3 passwords. It would be the same word, like password. It just would have variations of cases.
Right.
And again, he thought he was being proactive as far as making it convenient for the people using the application, but really he was creating this security vector, that this vulnerability vector that, somebody who, you do the math, whatever it is, whatever. Yeah. So people are able to crack faster. So back to the app key rotation. I understand in principle. I think it's a good thing that they're thinking about this. I'm not sure the implementation actually accomplishes anything.
Right. If you're going to rotate, I would think you would want to proactively decrypt with the old key, re-encrypt with the new key, and then throw away the old key.
Right. Like there should be just a job that goes through your database and looks for anything encrypted, fixes it, moves it over to the new key, and then throws away the old key.
I guess that's our part, is the app doesn't know what's encrypted and what's not by default, right? Because you can just call encrypt.
That's true.
On pretty much anything.
Yeah. Tough problem.
That's why we don't do our own encryption, right? We don't come up with that our own encryption algorithm. That's my favorite security story, is roll your own encryption. I remember a client used MD5 on their passwords, which was bad enough, but trying to be smart about it, would MD5 it like 32 times or whatever number they had. But I think along the way they were checking the password that was entered with all of those. So basically you had a lot of chances of being wrong or accidentally right,
Right.
And at the same time, their back door into the admin account. Like if you're an admin and you want to log in as a user, you logged in using their MD5 password. So basically turning the MD5 into a clear text password.
Right.
But again,
grab from the database and put it in.
Yeah. But then again, because of the re-MD5ing every time, you could put an MD5 or any 32 characters in there, and you had a lot of chances of getting right, of getting access. Don't try and do your own encryption. It's not worth it.
And you should also not try to do your own monitoring. You should depend on one of our sponsors for that.
Thanks to our friends at honeybadger.io for sponsoring this podcast. Monitoring, like web development, can be complicated. There are tons of tools and techniques, but you just want to know that your app is up and that your customers are happy. When your customers encounter a problem, you need clear, actionable intelligence, not walls of charts and reams of logs to tail. That's why they built Honeybadger, the monitoring tool we always wanted. A tool that's there when you need it and gets out of your way when you don't, so that you can keep shipping code, know when critical errors occur, and which customers are affected. Respond instantly when your systems go down. Improve the health of your systems over time, and fix problems before your customers can report them. Honeybadger is the application health monitoring tool built for you, the developer who cares about a quality product and happy customers. Be the hero of your team and sign up for a free trial and start monitoring today at honeybadger.io. Setup takes as little as 5 minutes. See what you've been missing and fix it. Once again, that's www.honeybadger.io.
Thank
you, Honeybadger.
I got a problem.
What's your problem?
Workout kid brought me in out fries and a chocolate shake, and I just, once I start eating these, like, it's hard to stop. And we got way too much show to go for me not to eat them. So
wait, you don't like cold fries? What's wrong with you?
Man, tell you, cold fries and warm shake.
There you go. Sounds
Hey,
like a great
I
combination.
got something I want to share with you guys. Well, actually, before I do that, I would be remiss if I did not mention that in Laravel 11, there's actually a new default route for health. So there's a system in Laravel now that will do some basic checks of whether or not your application is up and running and everything's okay. So there's a /up now in Laravel 11. Just FYI, I thought of that because of the honey. It's nowhere near the honey badger quality. It's not there.
Well,
but
Honey Badger would use that to see if your system is up.
Yeah, I guess it could
for uptime monitoring.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna share something with you all. I was shared a site, and I know the people behind this site, and those people know us, us being PHP Ugly. And when I got wind of their site, I'm like, "Hey, I'm talking about this on the show," and so they try to blackmail me by putting like PHP Ugly stuff on their site. But if you've ever wanted to share your hatred for other languages, there's now a site to help you do that called Syntax Error. And basically, you can say anything you want sucks. Like every language, quite a few frameworks. I think Laravel's on here. Yeah, there's Laravel. PHP is on there, bastards. Python. Yeah. Basically, whatever language you're a champion of, you can get all the other languages shirts that suck. Then if you go at the very bottom, read the FAQs, because again, these guys think they're funny, and yeah, they're kind of funny. But if you go to the very bottom, they've already prepped their site to let people know, where you get it from. They even put a quote. Yeah, that's the quote I mentioned to them. So yeah, they're savage, man. They're ruthless. They don't care. So share if you've ever wanted something, go check it out.
Your new official title, Mike Hogger.
Mike Hogger, yeah. And apparently they don't like Taylor Swift either, because they say Swift sucks. Yes, I know Swift is a language. I'm just trying to turn people against them. They trying to turn all the Taylor Swift fans against them, Swifties. So yeah, I think that's that just needs to be put on Reddit. The site hates Taylor Swift. I'll put that in the show notes for anybody interested. Oh, did you move it already? What'd you do? Did you delete it? Oh, there it is.
It's right there.
Sorry about that.
What are you talking about?
So yeah, I thought that was funny. Like I said, that was shared, and I'm like, oh, this is too funny. So I'm like, yeah, I had to give them a hard time about it. I don't know if they want me to expose who it is, but yeah, they're friends of the show. Put it to you like that. Frenemies of the show.
I'm trying to remember. I put a ticket on my board, and I'm trying to remember why I did it, and it's not clicking with me right now.
Let me take a sip of this.
Why you do that? We've been making a lot of progress on PHP tech coming up in April. We've done so much more prep. Actually, I got to find out if those other slots have been accepted yet. But we've ordered our speaker gifts. We've ordered some more of our swag that we need for the conference. So lots of progress being made. Can't believe it's only less than 40 days away.
39 days, 15 hours, baby.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, this is about the time of year where I'm super excited, but also like I definitely need medication to get me day to day. Medication and alcohol. It's just a lot of anxiety. I feel like it's going smoother this year for sure. But it's just one thing. You said John and I have conversations every now and then, and we just start going through these horror scenarios of what could possibly go wrong to derail the entire conference. And trust me, we've identified quite a few. We talked about the
Yep.
bus factor. We got a freaking train factor. Oh God.
I am scheduling this additional 2 talks, and that means we will officially announce who the replacement speaker is.
Yeah.
Gotta figure out
That's
where
right.
this one is going. Yeah, I'll figure that out eventually.
Still
So
looking for sponsorship. Anybody interested?
yeah, but that's always the case. That's where that's gonna go. Right about there.
This is exciting.
We'll save
stuff.
that. If you want to pull up the schedule,
Schedule? I can do that.
I guess
Share
this
it
person
again.
is speaking very first thing, right after the keynote. There you go.
Chris. Look, Chris
Chris-
Tankersley.
Chris Tankersley will be gracing our stage again. He gave our closing keynote last year.
Yeah. So we demoted him. They're like, dude, I think that was too much. Need to pull it back a little bit. No, he's actually helping us out a lot. So we appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah, a couple of talks from Chris. I'm excited. Happy he's on board. So his is his picture over here now? Nope. Is his picture over here now?
It should be.
These are all random. They're random every time
There
you
he
load
is.
them. So.
Yep.
You see him?
Yep, at the bottom.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool, Chris.
I think it's random every like 5 minutes or so. Is their cache time.
Yeah. Anybody longtime listeners of the show might recognize this name over here, Mr. A. Woods, who I believe is in our Discord right now.
He
And,
is.
he is talking, so excited about that. Don't know who this guy. I don't know how this guy got on the card. Up here, no less. Holy smokes. Gotta talk to somebody about that. Yep. Fun stuff. I asked Jake Bennett to speak this year. He was at the conference last year. Great guy. If you don't know who Jake is, one of the best guys in our community. Him and Michael Dorinda, who's just the opposite of Jake. No, I'm kidding. They do North Meets South podcast and the Laravel News podcast. But Jake ended up doing a talk at Laracon US on state machines, which I'm a fan of state machines. And I'm like, dude, please come on. You live right outside Chicago. Just come on over, do this talk. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about so many talks this year. And I hate that. I hate how excited I am about some of these talks because I know I'm not going to have time to go see them. And
it's always the way.
Weird. I know. Good lineup, though. MWAP needs something. Like, this is killing me. I'm willing to let A-Wood slide because at least it's a face. I don't know what this is.
That's been his logo for years.
I know.
Decades even. It's just the way it works. You said lineup. You want to hear some fun baseball talk?
Oh man, we're in spring training, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah, let's talk baseball.
Had a game last night, and I've got a kid on my team. He's a great kid, but he's got that swagger, like he's the best, right? But love him. Wait a second. When you see him with other people.
Time out. First thing, Coach Condon here is going to talk shit about a 8-year-old ball player. I want everybody to like get this in frame of mind here. Everybody thinks you're so good. You're such a nice guy. You're an asshole.
Well, that's true. No, he's a great kid. He's pitching last night, and he's like every pitch he thinks is a strike, and when it's called ball, he's like like making faces, and he's all upset. And his mom is trying, like she's behind the fence trying to make him stop. So I reached out and I'm like, can we let me mentor him this year? Like, he's a good kid. Just having the coaches say something and the parents on the sideline talking and yelling at him is just overwhelming. And I think that could lead to the kids shutting down. So asked nicely, like, how about when he's on the field, let us mentor him, and you just enjoy the game and take the night off, right? It's just, one of the comebacks was he needs a coach that's gonna uh, make him pay attention to the game or something. I don't think it was a personal attack, but this is the way I took it. Like, you're not, you're too soft, which I probably am, but they're 8 years old. There's a lot of walks. Like, they're going to be bored, and trying to stay that engaged for that amount of time is hard. On top of that, I've only have 11 players on the team, and I already have 3 missing tonight. So we're going to play with 8 players. Do you have any strategy ideas for me?
God. Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm just taking center field out and just having right and left and just play a little tighter.
I mean, that's one approach that a lot of people use. I don't know where like do you really need a shortstop? Like, how often do balls hit that shortstop sort of thing? You know,
actually, my shortstop last night, there's one inning where he got all 3 outs. He caught a pop fly.
Oh, really?
Then he caught a pop fly and tagged second base.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
there you go. Yeah, I mean, I guess at 8 you don't have a lot of balls going in the outfield, probably, huh? Do you?
Not a lot. There's a couple. I mean, if we throw strikes, they will. Unfortunately, because I have back-to-back games, I can't pitch my pitchers from last night, so they're getting a wild mix of pitchers tonight.
Yeah, that's no bueno. Yeah, there's just not much you can do about that. Yeah, you're probably right. Take out your center fielder, kind of have your right and left fielders shift a little bit, and just do it, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
that is a pain in the ass, though. I mean, we've had that in the adult men's league I play. You go play a team and they'd be short a player or 2, so that sucks.
I think the worst part about it is not the worst part, but one of the big issues I have is once we go through the lineup once in batting, we're done. Whether we score the 4 runs that we're allowed to score or not, it's like you don't have a chance to make that up. Where
so you guys could only score 4 runs at a time?
Yeah, it's capped at 4 runs, and you 3 outs, or you go through the batting lineup once. So if they have all 11 kids, they got that many more attempts to score. It's like
everybody bats. Everybody, like the bench and everybody. Gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't seem quite fair. Well, guess what? I got good news.
What is that? I like good news.
You don't have. I keep complaining. Matter of fact, I started off the show complaining. What did I say? I haven't had a lot of time to code, right? I haven't, Yeah, I don't have to worry about that much longer, thanks to a new AI that has been released. Let me share this. I'll put this in the show notes so everybody can see it. But Devin is the new, being touted as a what do they call it? Software engineer AI, and this thing is spooky good. So, unlike the AI we're used to now with like the Copilot and the JetBrains AI, where you might ask it questions or it might suggest code. No, that's not how this one works. This one works where you tell it what you want, and then it brings up a IDE, it brings up a web browser, it brings up a terminal, and it starts coding it. And it starts running tests, and as long as the tests fail, it will reiterate and go through its code, and it keeps iterating on its code until it gets all of the tests to pass, and then you have your code completed. I watched a video on this. I'm like, holy smokes, man. This is spooky.
That's scary.
I still think it's only like successful. They ran some numbers. I should have made note of the numbers. But it's successful like 15% of the time or something, whereas like other Copilot and JetBrains, it successfully will write code like 2% of the time, sort of thing. So it's significantly better than anything that's out there today, but it's still a ways away. But it's freaky, man, because once it understands basically the scope and what it's trying to complete, this thing will just go through the code and keep trying to create it and keep trying to create it. And I'm like, I saw this. I'm like, oh, man, tell me this is an April Fool's joke. Wait, no, we're in March. Damn it. Because it didn't seem real. I wonder if I can find that. I'm going to see real quick. Here it is. This is the interface.
Hey, I'm Scott from Cognition AI, and today I'm going to ask Devin to benchmark.
You guys can hear that. So this is it, right? You just tell the damn thing what you want, and then you see on the right-hand side, it starts going through, and it creates basically the points that it's going to try to accomplish, and then it starts coding the damn thing, and it just starts reiterating through the code and making it better and making it better. It is trippy. So yeah, this is something, man. I mean, it's freaky weird. I don't know. So maybe we don't have code anymore.
Well, that
might be a thing.
At a 15% success rate, I'm going to say no, but it is freaky. Sevin has made the comment, I don't have a problem with the AI overall, but I dislike the pressure I feel to use it. I'm mostly the same way, but there are times where it's getting some of the pieces right for me. Like as I'm trying to be better about using it.
I feel like here is this oh wait, I think you just showed the graph I was talking about. Oh, back up.
Yeah. While you're looking for that, I'm using it a little bit more within my code, especially in my tests. It's getting the context I'm looking for a little bit more often. Where I'm having a lot more success with it is outside of coding, getting a little better information than I get from docs sometimes.
Yeah. I feel like here's that graph I was talking about. So Devin's pulling in 13.86. I think this is like a success rate or something. I don't know. I gotta get out of the way words. I don't know.
Percent issues resolved.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I see that. So basically where it's written successful code that completed the task that it was presented with, it's at 13.6, and these other ones, ChatGPT 3.5 is less than 1%, 4 is a little better, almost 2%. They don't have JetBrains on here, but you kind of just see like this is a huge leap. But I was talking to somebody, and I feel like everything we're going through with AI right now, from coding perspective, I agree with you, John. Outside of coding, I'm finding AI more and more useful, and I've let contributors of the magazine, because it's come up of, hey, are we okay using AI? And we've talked about this in the past. I'm like, yeah, it's a tool, right? It's just like looking up on a blog or something else. Don't copy it word for word. You're still responsible for your article, but use the tool, right?
Right.
But I feel like from a coding perspective, AI is the new Stack Overflow, where it's like, everybody thinks, oh, all the code you need is on Stack Overflow. You look for the question, you find the code, you copy and paste, and you're good to go. It's like, that's what AI is today. It's just Stack Overflow mainlined right into your code. You don't have to go out there anymore.
Within your IDE, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So I feel like maybe this will pass.
I don't know if we need to do this with our devs. We had one of our clients, because they're a much bigger company, they actually had lawyers draft up a AI use policy or something along that lines of how anyone in the company can use AI and how they can't, restrictions around it, you know. So I think more and more companies are going to go along those routes. I say that because Corey is saying my company has a strict no AI policy. So I think if you don't have something in writing from the company, I would say you should not use it, even though it's tempting, only because you're putting yourself at risk possibly. Uh, it would be nice if all companies would say, here's how you can use it and have some sort of acceptable use policy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that going the strict no AI approach is the wrong approach, right? It's again, it's a tool that's out there. We just need to learn how to wield it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like a big misstep to just to eliminate it, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. As long as there's acknowledgement of, right and wrong ways, and
Right,
you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to use this tool, but I'm going to be very careful, and I'm taking responsibility for how I use it.
right. Yeah, and that's the thing. End of the day, it's your work, right? So you need to stand behind your work and don't say, hey, oh yeah, my AI wrote that. It's the one that made the mistake. That's
Right.
not acceptable.
Right.
It's not acceptable. It's still
I
your
think
work. So
I think that's the big one right there, right? If you're signing something saying, hey, I understand this is a tool that I am wielding, but it's my responsibility, it's way different. Because I agree with you. Somebody's going to come back and say, hey, we just got hacked and lost all of our credit card data, but it's not my fault because, I was using AI.
right,
It's like, well, that's not going to fly.
right. That does not stand up in a court of law, I'm afraid. So, all
I'm sure
right.
they'll try.
Good.
I said, I'm sure they'll try.
Yeah, I'm
Making it,
gonna just throw up our supporters, our Patreon supporters, who we appreciate. I always
all
seem
right.
to forget to do that every week now. So we have
All right.
March, the March in March. I don't know.
Sounds
That's all I got. I got nothing
well.
else.
While you do that, I just shared another link to
My dog just, hey, NorCal kid, the dog just tried to take my fries. That was, you got to be out of your mind. Here, have a fry. Holy smokes.
Here's a reward for what you tried to do. That seems
I know,
wrong.
I'm such a sucker.
All right, shared a link in Discord for Tim Lytle is hosting Battlesnake at PHP Tech, and he's asking that you fill out a form to be entered into the tournament. So if you're going to be at PHP Tech and want to participate in the Battlesnake tournament, it's a fun time. Building your snake. I think we put a restriction on it last week saying you have to code it in PHP because it's a PHP conference. I think last year people were using Python and Node or something.
And absolutely no AI.
Not unless you sign our AI use policy.
That's right. Actually, that's what we should do. We should get this Devin to participate in the battle and let Devin see how well Devin does.
So is that open to the public or is it like a private beta type of thing right now?
I got to go back through it. It crossed my desk at the very last minute, so I just kind of watched the one video and then I haven't really followed up after that. So I need to do that. Typical fashion. We only give you half the damn story. You got to figure out the rest of it.
If the other thing I want to talk about, if you were in our Discord earlier this week, a lot of talk around code wars, excuse me, doing code katas, and it makes me want to get back in there and do those things again. That was how
I forgot about this.
Yeah. So that's how Orlando PHP ran their monthly meetups if they didn't have a speaker. It was always if we don't get a speaker, we'll get together and we'll do some sort of kata. And it was fun. One time we did it, and it was, doing a bowling scoring, which is pretty tricky if you don't know how to score a bowling game.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yep.
Okay. See, what do we got? How are we on time? Oh, we got a little time left.
Mm-hmm.
Got some bad news
What's that?
from the world of layoffs and so forth. This year for PHP Tech TV, I had seriously considered using PlanetScale, and I had fired up. There was a free tier that you could have on PlanetScale. I wasn't super happy with the performance. And honestly, I was hoping they would sponsor it. Like I figured, hey, if they sponsor us, I'm totally using this, platform. So I was playing around with it, and again, wasn't super happy with the performance. But again, I was on the free tier, right? So I was debating, I'm like, all right, do I pay for a tier or do I just not worry about it? I had just opted not to worry about it this year. But then they decided that they're changing their focus a little bit at PlanetScale. They realized that PlanetScale is an infrastructure company, and as an infrastructure company, they're really focused on like the engineer and the product. So they did away with their free tier, which I won't fault a company for. I appreciate their free tier, but if you don't want to offer a free tier, it's fine. You just make it difficult for me to evaluate your service if there's not a free tier. That's up to them, whatever. Then they laid off like a shitload of people from their sales and marketing. And one of the people that laid off, it was that Aaron guy who had gotten me like excited about database.
Oh, really?
He got laid off. Can you freaking believe that?
Wow.
That guy like became the face of PlanetScale. And yeah, he was getting me excited about database stuff, which I was never a big database person, never really happy, it was just kind of like, okay, I'll do the bare minimum to get the data I need, but Aaron really kind of got me thinking of things differently. They laid off a chunk of people as well as did away with their free tier. I hope the best for them. I hope they survive. I definitely don't, want to see them not make it, but that's hard, man. I would imagine something like this, like how do you get somebody to try this without a free tier? I mean, I guess you can do the whole, hey, sign up, give us your credit card. The first 2 months will be free, and then we'll start to charge you sort of thing.
Well, it doesn't even have to be a credit card. There's a lot of companies like PhoneBurner does it where you sign up and you get, access for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of usage. And then once you hit that, it kind of just stops you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you can still create an account and you can still do stuff. But once you get to this point, whatever that point is in the PlanetScale world, you're basically done until you put a credit card in.
Yeah.
But that's, that gets, I think it's easier if you say, hey, we have a free tier, or it shouldn't be an endless free tier. Like, I know AWS does that a lot, but why? Why endless free tier? It should be here's how you get in, here's how you use it. So you have an account, a limited account for X amount of time. And then after that, it's useless.
Yeah. Sorry, I answering questions. Yeah, I agree. And the other thing about like the endless free tier, like you said, I'm not sure what the thinking is behind it, but like think of all the junk data you end up with, right? Like there's just like so many junk instances out there. And then of course you have the people who try to game the system where they like change their email so they can have multiple free accounts. And It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe that's the purpose for the endless free tier. It's like, hey, if you're really not going to abuse us, then, keep one instead of signing up every week or month or whatever it is.
Yeah. Hey, you got one more card. You want to talk about your last card, or
that's what I was talking about. I don't remember why I put that on there. It's like something was going on at work, and I just don't know what made me think of that. So
okay, fair enough.
We'll leave it for now.
All right. Well, I think we're at a good.
You broke the rule.
I know. Well, I didn't snipe it. I didn't take it. But yeah, I did draw attention to it. And now everybody's like, I don't know what they're talking about anymore. I didn't know what they were talking about earlier, but I had a clue.
No, I want to know why I put it on there. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's like move fast and break things. And my assumption is I did that, and I just can't remember how I did that. Like, that was supposed to be my trigger. Like, oh, you did this.
Did we?
You know what? That's probably the Firebase thing, where it was move fast. Like, I just want to get this out. I wrote it, didn't engineer it well. I didn't know any better because it was my first foray into that. And yeah, I used it incorrectly.
Did we talk last week about the experience recently with the client? And basically the whole concept of MVP, and I'm like, I don't think you're using that word correctly. Did we talk about that on the show?
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah. We were working with a client on a project. It's been a pretty long running project, and it was one of these things where there's an existing application, and it's always kind of the same thing. We're going to rewrite this application from the ground up, and we're going to reimagine it and rethink it. And as the project kind of goes on, it stops being that. It becomes a feature for feature replacement of the existing app. And by the time the scope is done, it's just a rewrite of which had to happen anyways. The rewrite had to happen, but the client keeps referring to it as a MVP. I'm like, you're not using that word correctly. Like, this is not an MVP anymore.
It's a full rewrite.
Yeah, we're just going, working through the phases of a rewrite at this point.
Yeah. I remember why I wrote that.
Let's hear it.
All right. So we've been talking about free tier. A couple months, actually probably 6 months ago, we decided to start looking at a pub sub service to replace Firebase because Firebase was being abused and not used correctly. And then finally came around to, in February, signing a contract with a company, and then that went live on March 1st. So I'm like, okay, it's live. Let's start moving traffic from our, this free tier over to the paid tier. And all of a sudden somebody like turned the switch too quickly, and like lots of things went sideways. First of which, the move fast break things part was, we building this little beta thing that we're trying to do on the site, and beta code is supposed to be, let's try it out, see how it works, and then really think about how it's used. Yeah, hard coded the keys in there. So the web front end was using hard coded keys. So when we switched over to another set of keys, the front end is talking in the old keys, the server is talking in the new keys. Why isn't data flowing? It's just not working. And then
awesome.
The second issue was in our CI environment. The ops people were like, oh, we need to start having actual environment variables instead of a .env file. And I still, for the life of me, can't understand why two different containers, like the app container is preferring the environment variables over the .env file, but the worker containers seem to be preferring the .env file over the environment variables. And again, that move fast break things is like, okay, nobody updated the .env file, so the keys are just mismatched. Again,
Yeah.
the CI is using new keys, but the workers are using old keys. Just a nightmare. Key management, secret management is not easy.
All right. So we did it. We got through another
We
show.
did it.
I didn't go to scale today because of you guys. You people. Not guys, people. I wanted to make sure we got to do the podcast. I thought briefly about doing the podcast remotely, but it doesn't always go well. And it's just the two of us now, so it kind of suck if it didn't go well. So yeah, maybe I don't know. We have to rethink that. Maybe we have to start having a guest speaker on. Like when one of us has to be remote, we need to bring in like a guest host for that show. So if something goes sideways with the remote person, but so I'm at Scale next couple days, tomorrow and over the weekend. If anybody happens to be there, hit me up. I'd like to meet you, say hi. Other than that, I'll see everybody next week, I guess. This is
Sounds
it
good.
for episode 375. I'm Eric.
And I'm John. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
You 1 2 1 2 coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
See, it does that every time now.
What's that?
Whenever you come out of a video or something, it doesn't put us side by side anymore. It doesn't remember the last setting.
Weird. Dude, I don't know what's going on with our Firebase account today, but where we've been averaging it's still way too high, but 200 to 300 gigs of data a day downloaded.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden today it's 885. Like something's just not right. And I don't know what it is.
Holy smokes. I have a check here. Here in the, I guess I don't know. Do all countries have pay taxes? I'm sure they do on some level.
Yeah, I would assume.
Last year, my taxes. So last year's taxes were processed. Oh wait, we're in 2024, so we haven't actually done last year's taxes. The previous year taxes, because of a bunch of flooding and stuff that happened in Southern California, and the fact that it was clarified a state of emergency or whatever, we didn't have to do our taxes when they were normally due for the rest of the country. We got a little bit of a couple months reprieve, which obviously you use, right? You always file your taxes, as close to the deadline as possible. And John and I, we have a tax guy. that we use for our business and our personal taxes. Great guy, helps us out a lot. And for 2022, he had done our taxes, and then he called me after submitting them. He called me a little bit later and said, "Hey, we made a mistake. You owe a little bit more money." I'm like, "All right, that's fine. It happens. Whatever. We take care of it," and we send him a little bit more money. And then, like a month or two later, I get a letter from the IRS that says, "Hey, you still owe us more money." I'm like, "Damn it! Why do I still owe more money?" So I grab it, and I'm like, "All right, I'm going to reach out to our tax guy and talk to him and see what's going on."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do it right away. It passes a couple days, right? And I go get my mail again, and I have a check from the IRS that I had overpaid. I'm like, wait, what is happening? I don't know who to trust anymore. I don't know what's happening here. So I still have that check. I'm terrified to cash it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this check is months and months old now. I couldn't even tell you how old it is. Where's the month of this?
I hope it's a small amount because there's no reason to hold on to it. We got one for both of our companies a couple of months ago.
That we overpaid?
Again. Yeah, I guess I don't know if like something went into effect, but like, or there was some sort of tax break that wasn't taken into consideration.
Gotcha.
It wasn't clear, and the amounts were different. And the amount for Diego Dev was way higher than the one for PHP Architect.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
weird.
I just deposited them. I'm like, yeah.
If you're a independent consultant, you can appreciate what it's like doing your own taxes for personal business. Try doing that with like employees, and that shit gets insanely complicated. This is why companies have accountants, because of this stuff.
I gave our accountant, our tax guy, like had him do our books this weekend or earlier this week, and he got them back to us. And I'm like, these numbers don't add up. He's like, because we're closing Diego Dev, he came back and said, all right, here's your closing accounts. The money in the bank may not match exactly, but you get this percentage, Eric gets this percentage of whatever's left. And I look and I'm like, yeah, the money in the bank is nowhere near that. Like, it's significantly lower in the bank than what he thinks we should have.
You got way too many zeros on that thing.
And I'm like, this isn't good. So I go and look. I had him waste his time because I haven't been in the Diego Dev books because we don't use those accounts.
Yeah.
And just all the little transactions of when we're moving money from Diego Dev to PHP Architect and vice versa, and just all of these little things like just added up, and the accounts weren't reconciled. So he's working off numbers that almost bogus numbers because they were so far.
He's got to love that.
No, he said it was fine. He understood and not a big deal.
Yeah.
So he's going to rerun them now. That's why I told you ignore the emails you got from him, because it's going to change.
Honestly, when I got the Diego Dev one, I'm like, I don't even care about this one. Guys, I just figured it was like nothing. I didn't even look at it.
No, it's the closing everything down, and then the like, here's what roughly should be left in the bank accounts. And he's saying just take it out as a disbursement and be done with it. Hence me wanting to get together with you on Monday so I could give you a check.
Oh, that'd be fun. I thought we had moved everything over.
No, there's still money in the bank accounts. Okay. It turns out I can't wait to be done with one of them. It's like, because we moved everything into a third account in that bank, even though it's all part of the same account, because that one dropped below 5,000. They were hitting us for $20 a month or $27 a month. Like,
fees,
what in the? Gotta be kidding me. You can't look and see, across all their accounts, you have this much money.
I know. I told you. By the way, if you happen to be hanging out right now, the podcast is over. This is just us like just talking about weird
crap!
stuff.
I gotta go.
All right, and that's how we wrap it up, just like that.
I gotta get to the field.
All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us